Alright, in this video we're going to continue discussing helicopters, and we're going to focus on helicopters carrying passengers. The rules for helicopters carrying passengers are going to be very similar to the ones that I discussed in my passengers video. Make sure you watch those to understand the basics when it comes to passengers. The designations for the carrying capacity on helicopters are going to be just the same as the ones I discussed, so if you'll watch those, it'll give you the exact amounts for how much the helicopters can carry and passenger capacity. The passengers in helicopters are always going to be located inside of a helicopter, so you're never going to see a PO or PPO designation on a helicopter counter. As well, just like with other vehicles, if a helicopter is destroyed, the passengers inside are going to have to conduct a bailout check just like normal. Some of the differences involved though: a helicopter is required to be in hover mode to load or unload any passengers, and they must be in open terrain to do so. So this Russian helicopter could load or unload this Russian squad because he's in open terrain and he's in hover mode. Also, the helicopter must begin in the embarking unit's hex to take and load on the passengers. However, when it comes to helicopters, like I said previously, helicopters do have the ability to enter an enemy-occupied hex. When it comes to this, though, there are some restrictions, like you can't take and have a helicopter enter an enemy-occupied hex and disembark passengers to have them directly enter melee combat, or have units that are in melee combat withdraw from it and load into a helicopter in the same impulse. So what I mean by all that is, let's say that this squad had loaded into the helicopter could not fly up into the hex here and unload them into this melee combat to reinforce it, and the squad that's already in melee combat could not withdraw and load into the helicopter in the same impulse. That would have to be split up into separate impulses. It is going to still cost 1/2 the movement point allowance for units to take and load or unload, but helicopters have an unlimited movement point allowance, so it's essentially free form. You don't have to worry about their movement points, but you're still going to concern yourself with the units who are loading or unloading. Now, just like other vehicles, if a unit is unloaded, they are going to be marked as moved and they can be op fired against. So if this squad were to unload into this clear terrain from the helicopter, they'd be marked as moved and they could be op fired against by eligible enemy units. The unloading squad, if they are assault move capable, like this squad is, they could do an assault move as an unload, but you would resolve enemy op fire before you would conduct their fire. So you would unload the squad in their assault move, and then enemy units would take and conduct their fire against them, and then depending on the results of whatever damage they received, they would conduct their own fire at that point.